Welcome everybody to the Gecko Pod episode 79. My name is Harry with Zero's Geckos. AJ's off today. He's prepping for Tinley. He has a bunch of like show preview stuff and pack animals, and he has to get ready. And so he's just swamped over there. But I still wanted to meet up with Chris and chat. I didn't want to keep postponing it. Sorry, Chris. And I appreciate you hanging out with us, Chris. Chris from Crestie Worx is with us, and we're gonna chat, about breeding and pixels and the hobby in general. So, how you doing, Chris? You doing all right?
I'm good. You?
Yeah, good. Yeah, meeting in the morning. Just dropped off the kids, and thank you for just being flexible with kind of the timing and stuff. So,
for sure.
Yeah. Sorry, I had to clear my throat. Yeah, so Chris, like you and I, the first time I met you was at Tinley 2 years ago. And I don't think I knew you before that. I didn't know you before. I knew Janine, Janine at Treehouse, and then you were with Janine and Lindsay who crested, and then and that's where I met you. And I was like, oh, okay. And then eventually, we were chatting here and back and forth and in the chats and stuff. And then once like the pixel stuff came along, that's when I chat with you even more. Because I got into that project, but you were already working on that for, I don't know, for a year. How long have you had that? And then we'll circle back with some.
The end of 2017, beginning of 2018.
Oh, you had that stuff for a long time then.
Yes. Well, I acquired her then.
Okay.
The original female is when I acquired her, and she was
from Pangea?
From Gecko Junkie.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Yeah. And then did you know back then what it was? No, I guess.
No. So I picked her up. She was probably like, I don't know, 30-ish grams or so, but there was just something about her that was super unique. And I was like, I have to have that. So I grabbed her and I grew her up, and then I bred her, and she only gave me one set of eggs the entire season, and one was dud and one was good. And so a male hatched out, and he was super cool looking. And I was like, okay, well, I'm going to breed her again to that same male the following season. Same thing happened, the exact same scenario.
Okay.
Another male hatched out. And I was like, okay. So, like, I don't know. Sometimes you just have a gut feeling, and I did. And it was like tugging at me like bad. And I was like, I've got to breed her son back to her.
Yeah.
So when I bred that first one out of the first season, the male that hatched out, I bred him back to her, and that's when all the pixels popped.
Okay.
Gave me a full season, and I popped all the pixels. So then it's just kind of snowballed from there.
Yeah, no, that's really cool. Okay, I didn't know you were working on it for that long. Yeah. So we'll come back to that. But so how long have you been in the hobby, like breeding and?
So crested geckos, I've had crested geckos for like 16 years or so. I didn't really, I kind of played with it a little bit with breeding like one pair when I first, like within the first year that I got it.
Yeah.
But then when I decided to like go full on with breeding, I didn't have the means to buy like the big ones and all that stuff. So I bought small and grew everything up, which is important too. Like you don't necessarily have to get big breeders or almost, because it's super important to know how things develop. And the only way you can do that is by watching them grow.
Yeah.
So, anyway, so I grew up a whole bunch of stuff and started breeding. Oh gosh, when did I start like breeding? Maybe 2015 or so.
Okay.
And then it's just snowballed from there. But I've kept, like, when I was a kid, 10 years old at home, me and my dad bred bearded dragons. Like I always, I've been in it all my life.
Yeah. No, that's cool. Okay. Yeah, I didn't know you're in so long. I'm sure kind of as the years went on, you just kind of ramped up in terms of the size and the different projects.
Yes, it's just then the social media too. I remember back then it wasn't as crazy as it is now too,
Yes.
as far as the Crested Gecko community. And then it was like, I don't like the drama. So like when I started really looking into like the community as far as social media, I was like, ugh, I didn't
Yeah.
really want any part of it. But it's kind
Yeah.
of, sometimes it's a necessary evil, because you can learn a lot too. So it is good, but then it can be bad as well.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I feel like that's a whole nother podcast we can do. We can tug at that string a little bit. I'm like, yeah, that's true. I guess the more you're in it, the more you're involved, just the more, you know, the more drama you can, it's possible to get into. And so it's, I was telling AJ, sometimes I'm just like, sometimes I just want to unplug for a little while and just disappear for a little while
Yeah.
and just keep working on the animals, and so
Yeah. And I think we all get there, and a lot of us I think do that. Like I know we have to like keep up with social media sometimes, but sometimes you just need a break from it all. And that's with anything, any hobby, any line of work, it all there's always some sort of crazy to it. You can't get away from it.
I mean, that's absolutely true. I've been in crazier communities. But the reptile community, I mean, there's a lot of good people. Crested community is actually a lot of good people, really sweet people. Like, whether it's like the podcast or, like the Palm Lives or the shows and stuff, like just to see everyone can kind of rally together and have a good time. I think there's a lot of positives to it. So, but yep, there's always a few things that make the hobby like difficult.
Yeah.
A lot of people are just so driven by money and jealousy and
Yeah.
competition that it bothers me. That's just not how I operate. I don't like that. So
Me too. I feel you.
yeah,
That's probably why we get along well.
yeah, yeah. I think so. Uh, I just like the chill vibes of. But
Just make cool geckos.
yeah, just make it go. Yeah. So okay. So social media came along and kind of blew things up a little bit, and you got a little bit more involved with kind of getting to know more people and.
Yes, like it took me a minute to get. So I come from a correctional officer background. So
Okay. Yeah.
like that line of work kind of with people anyway. So it's
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
being in it for so many years, like it was kind of hard for me to socialize with people anyway
Got
after
it.
being there for so long.
Yeah.
So when I finally decided, hey, I want to do this,
Yeah.
I had to come out of my shell somehow, some way. So yeah, I slowly dipped my foot in, and
Mm.
there's people that will tell you in the hobby when they first met me at shows that they thought I was a bitch. Because like they said
uh,
that I acted like I didn't want to be bothered, like I was too good
oh,
and all this, and that
oh my
I
gosh.
had RBF and all this, and I'm like, but they got to know me. They went past that and got to know, like somebody went to Janine and was like, "What is her deal?" And
Oh my gosh.
Janine was like, "It's fine. Just give her a minute. Like
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
cool. You just need to get to know her. She's like kind of standoffish at first."
Yeah.
And so it took me a minute to like get involved with people and for people to really, I kept kind of a small circle at first because it was just hard for me socially, like just coming
Yes.
from the background that I came from. It was just difficult.
Yeah, and I'm sure you're an introvert too, right? Yeah. I am too. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That's when we should. This is where like AJ would chime in because like AJ kind of a lot of people have told him and also me like, oh, is AJ like, is he like at least at the beginning, AJ's kind of intimidating. He's kind of standoffish, very similar, and so he doesn't know he throws those vibes. At least he didn't before, but people would be intimidated by AJ, and then and I'm used to that, and this is why AJ and I are friends because my wife is like that too. Like she has like
Gotcha.
crazy RBF. She, you can't tell like what she's thinking. I was like, "Are you mad at me?" He goes, "No," and we're high school sweethearts, right? So I grew up with this, and I still sometimes don't know if she's mad at me.
That's too funny.
But this is why I get along with people that are a little bit more stoic and that are supposedly like intimidating.
It's
I kind of like
hard,
it.
and I didn't know that I was doing that either. I was
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
"I'm sorry, I didn't know."
oh my gosh, that's great. Well, I mean, from what I know, you've always been really sweet and just very, I don't know, very sweet and easy to talk to. I mean, for me, I never got like standoffish vibes from you. So
No, I was already, I think, worked through all
got it.
that by the time I met
Yeah.
you.
That's great. And see, yeah, now you're just like out and social and open and hanging out and yeah. So it's been overall good. Do you feel like that the positives are pretty good of just putting yourself out there and being involved with the community?
Yes, absolutely. It's been fun, and I've met a lot of great people along the way too. So, oh, okay,
There you go.
somebody was calling.
Oh
I don't.
no! Oh,
Yeah, I
who is
don't.
calling? Okay. Oh, maybe yeah, because I was telling for people who are watching, I was telling you that people sometimes will take their phone and put it sideways to do these podcasts, and then I was like, oh, just put on do not disturb um and yeah, it should be good. But someone called you and it blanked out, so I'm sorry.
No, you're good. I don't know. So I.
We'll make it work. It's okay. Um yeah, okay. So you when did are you kind of is this like a like a small side hustle, or is it kind of full time? You're like all in doing
Yeah,
shows and okay. You
it's
do a
full
lot of
time.
shows.
I do a lot. I'm trying to back off on some shows.
Okay.
So right when COVID hit, I decided to retire.
Got
Early.
it.
I was vested, so I ended up I was like, I'm done. And I'm so glad that I did.
Yeah.
And I started doing this full time. And I'm
Yeah.
still doing it full time. I'm lucky that my husband has a good job
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
able to do this full time, but he has been laid off a few times in the past year or so, and I've been able to keep us afloat pretty well with just
Wow.
this.
Okay. Yeah,
So
that's awesome. Um yeah, I mean you if you started doing full time like during the COVID times, that was a good time
it was.
to sell animals because everybody was doing well during that time and everyone got that's when I got into the hobby. And we saw the Xanthic prices pop, and it just kind of drew everybody towards the hobby. And I think that was just like a crazy time, right? So that kind
It
of
was.
kept you guys afloat and doing well. And um, ever since, oh, I guess since kind of the market downturn, we're kind of a low swing right now. Like, how has that adjust as a full time breeder, right? How have you had to adjust to kind of that swing? Are you still like doing pretty okay, or what's that look like?
I'm actually still doing good. Here in Texas, because I mainly do Texas shows,
Yeah,
gecko sales have been good. I mean,
great.
it's
Yeah,
not,
really good to hear.
and I'm selling some higher end stuff too. So it's not just low end stuff that's going. There are a lot of new people in the hobby,
Yeah,
which I love because we have to have that to continue
absolutely.
doing what we do. So
Yep.
that's super important. Um, but I try to just adjust, not necessarily because I do other things. So I do the plants, and then I have like isopods and the bioactive stuff. So
Mm,
I'm constantly trying to come up with new little things or just my own little take on stuff to try to make that little extra buck when maybe
yeah,
shows aren't good on gecko sales.
got it. Yeah, yeah. So get a little bit of a diversity in terms of things that you sell.
Yes,
Um, yeah. By the way, you do so you bring I saw you at Flora Fauna. You were vending there. I was vending there as well, and then you had your booth. You had plants as well, right? So do you always bring your plants and geckos to all your shows?
I do.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And I know the plant market also is kind of crazy too, and kind of took a dip too. But I still see like even on Palm Street and stuff, I see a lot
It's
of some at least a handful of bigger plant people like sell a lot and do well, right? And so the market is still there. It's just like extra saturated, maybe.
yeah.
Yeah. Did you sell? I mean, before Palm, did you sell anything on? Was it Plant Story or other online
I,
platform?
I had
No.
no idea about it.
Oh, okay.
I didn't know anything about it until you shared. And then, yeah, and I'm addicted now. Thank you.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. Yeah, we'll definitely talk about that a little bit. But okay, yeah, I just want to like so you sell plants and geckos at the shows and other various things, and those and at the shows you still enjoy doing them. You still are you tired of them? Like, because I've done a few shows and sometimes I'm like, I don't know if I want to. I only done like 2, 3, like not even that many. But for you, you do it so often. Are you tired of doing shows yet?
I do. It gets tiring. I'm getting older. So
Yeah,
it wears you down. And
yeah,
like in the beginning, I was like, how cool is this gonna be? Like doing
yeah,
all this, going all these places and experience all these new things. And it is
yeah.
great. Don't get me wrong, and I still enjoy it. But I mean, there was sometimes I was doing 8 shows back to back. So 2 months
Oh,
every weekend, driving everywhere. Like it's a
yeah,
lot. And
yeah.
then with having that many shows, like I wouldn't take the same animals every weekend
Right,
either.
right,
And I
right.
made sure that I had enough that I could rotate them
Cycle
out
through.
because
Yeah,
that's super stressful on the animals too. And I think a lot
yeah,
of people don't think about that aspect when you're doing shows constantly. It's a lot of wear and tear on your animal.
yeah, yeah. Man, I know Tristan Gecko Junkie. He's like a show warrior, and I know he has a lot of animals to cycle through. But like, man, like that's definitely a different type of life to kind of just always be on the road forever, nonstop.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, like he travels across. He's never been out west, all the way west, but he's gone pretty far.
Yes.
So yeah, do you know? I'm just thinking of like the percentages of like how many people are full time and then how many people actually do shows like that like all the time. I,
There's a lot of people that do shows all the time and actually work a full-time job. And I don't know
that's
how they
crazy.
do it. I'm
Yeah,
like, I don't,
absolutely.
because there's no way. And props to them because
Yeah,
I could not, absolutely not.
yeah, that's tough. And then now that we have Palm, it's something that kind of opens up. And with that, do you feel like you can, uh, dial actual shows back down and just do the Palm Street
Yes,
live
I
shows?
think so. I'm enjoying it. And then I did just plant sales last week and that went well. And actually, I have another one tomorrow.
Oh, sweet. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Have you sold a lot of plants online before, not just geckos?
Not really.
Mm.
I've I've talked about it for a couple years and just never. It's a lot of work. Taking
Yeah.
all the pictures and keeping up with the inventory, especially going to shows back and forth, and I'm not
Yeah.
as
Yeah.
organized as there's
No,
one.
you good. You good. What's up? How's it going?
Um, so I don't know. Like now, I'm sidetracked. Ah.
That's okay. That's okay. We're talking about plants and packing plants and selling plants
Yeah,
online.
I never got it online. I never went that far. I did ship or I do ship a lot of plants, just repeat customers that
Okay.
know me from shows and mainly here in Texas, and they just holler at me and are like, "Hey, I need this, this and this," or
Yeah.
I need something for this type of setup." And they kind of know me, I know them, so I just hook them up that way.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Because I know like Phil and Lexi at Fontanimo, like they just crank out so many like shipments, and they have like a dedicated person to like pack and ship. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like it's insane
It's
the amount of stuff they send out. I'm like, that's so much work. It's
I
crazy.
sent out how many orders did I send out yesterday? 15, I think.
Plants or geckos?
Plants.
Plants. Okay.
And that was my first time shipping that many plants, and it was a
Wow.
lot of work. I was like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh. So
I mean,
I got to get better prepared.
to some degree, it's almost like if you sell like a $10 plant, is it worth the shipping? Worth to like, let's say you sell like $10 plants. Like, is it really worth packing and shipping $10 plants like all the time?
I Yes, for me it would be then
Okay.
having to go to the shows and travel real far.
Okay. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. And I did really well on my first one, so I'm
Yeah.
excited to see how it goes. And then I'll just weigh it out and see
Yeah.
how things go and transpire on what exactly I decide to do as far as the plant life.
Yeah. I think that is pretty neat that you can offer both. Because you're known more as like a gecko breeder, but you also do really well in terms of like plants and
Yes.
things like that. And so I feel like you're kind of this good hybrid middle. So I try to start plants at the beginning of the year. I'm terrible. Like I can't. I bought some expensive ones and I can barely keep them alive, And
they're there.
they haven't died, but are they thriving? I don't know. So
Plants.
I'm about to sell my plant tent and
Oh no.
and so I have them now in a cabinet, one of those IKEA cabinets, like
Uh-huh.
it's the Fabricor or something, and I'll put them in there. But yeah, I'm not good at plants, and so I'm trying to get to the level where I can keep them alive and grow like just my own. But in terms of like propagating or whatever, I'm I don't think I can venture into that area. So it's cool that you're able to do both.
It's a lot of work. So
Yeah.
if my daughter didn't live at home and help me with
Yeah.
everything, there's no way. I would have to
Okay.
cut everything in half. I'd have to cut the plants in half and the geckos because
Yeah.
I couldn't do it by myself.
Okay.
So
Okay.
the plants definitely take up more of our time than the geckos do.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. In terms of watering I don't even know.
Just care in general, because I mean we grow outside. We have it out, a greenhouse outside, but it's not really controlled by any means.
Got it.
So you still, like, we roll up the sides during the summertime, but we still have to go out there and you have to make sure everything's watered and checked. And then you have to repot constantly. And then you have to check for pests. And then we don't use pesticide. So like if something is infested with something, we have to treat in other ways. So it's like a constant, like you have to keep on it, because like something can infest something just overnight.
Yeah.
And you don't want it to, and then there's sometimes that we have to like pull plants because they're just too bad and we can't. And so like we quarantine those and actually treat them. And it's just a lot. And then just constantly trying, and I have to outsource a lot of plants because we can't, it's just us two, and we can't keep up with the demand at all.
That's crazy. Yeah.
I sell a lot of plants at the shows.
Yeah, that's crazy. So I mean, that's pretty common, right? For a lot of like bigger plant sellers or just people that sell plants a lot, they find a source of purchasing wholesale and then like selling at the shows and stuff, right? That's pretty common.
Yes.
Okay. With geckos, maybe that's not as, that does happen obviously, but it's probably not as common as for gecko breeders, right? A lot of the time we just kind of make our own stuff if possible.
Yeah.
So. Yeah. Yeah. No, that's interesting. I didn't know you had so many plants. Do you do a lot of high end plants too, like the anthuriums and all those?
I have my whole living room wall now is from Palm Street, basically.
Oh, that's awesome.
I had a few. We had a greenhouse fire a couple years ago.
Yeah.
And I lost a lot of my personal plants. So, and I just haven't really rebuilt them back up again. So like when I discovered Palm Street, I was like, okay. And I got some really good deals. So I decided to make a place in our living room for all them and put up plant lights. So I have them inside.
Okay. What kind of plants? I'm just curious for myself. I'm like, what's good to get? Because I do want to keep my own personal collection of plants.
Get philodendrons. Do you have any philodendrons?
I have Florida Beauty.
Most of those are fairly easy. Like most of them, any of the philodendrons, there's a couple that you'd want to stay away from, but pretty much any of them, like you can neglect and they'll be okay.
Okay. That's perfect.
Because like the anthuriums and the calatheas, like they're a little bit more needy. You can't really let those dry out.
Yes. Yeah. I'm learning that.
And I still mess stuff up too. I still kill things.
Oh my gosh. One of them is hanging out for dear life, and it's my Carla. And I was like, oh, I probably shouldn't have bought that. It's a little bit pricey, and it's like, I'm trying to keep it alive, and it's honest. I don't know. I hope it survives.
Yeah. I Well, at Flora Fauna, me and Dandy Plants, we
Yeah.
traded.
Yeah.
We traded. She wanted some of the carnivorous plants, the
Okay.
Sarracenias. So we
Yeah.
traded a whole bunch of those for 2 decent sized Monstera albos. I have one
Yeah.
right here. I already killed the other one.
Oh no. I was about to ask you. I'm like, oh, do you sell those albos? Maybe I'll buy one from you. You know?
No, so it's this one is doing okay. It's getting a new leaf.
Oh my goodness.
I hope, because I've heard that they're, I don't know, they're susceptible to root rot. So like you can't overwater them
Yeah.
and you can't underwater them. And I'm trying to
Yeah.
find that happy medium. And my daughter's like, just put it outside, just put it outside. And I'm like, no, because it's going to go into shock when I have to bring it in for the winter. And I don't think they can really handle that. So I've got to get it accustomed to inside. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm just glad that I didn't pay for them.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. Yeah, I bought mine. The only thing I got, Flexi sent me, when I bought a bunch of the stuff, they sent me a Tycon. And so that one's surviving. It's just not growing as fast as I'd like, because it probably doesn't have the right variables to kind of help it like thrive and whatnot, right? So
Are you fertilizing at all?
I'm not. Should I?
Yes.
Okay. I repotted into kind of their aeroid mix, but I haven't thrown any fertilizer in there. Anyway, I can talk to you about that. Back to geckos. Yeah, no, I actually really want to learn the plant side of things, just so that I can keep my own stuff and like see it thrive, right? I'm like way beyond. There's no way I can catch up in terms of like selling that stuff, because I'm so focused on the cresteds.
Right.
But I do want to have like a pretty nice collection of plants that I can keep alive. So we'll see.
Well, it's fine. And then you could always, like, if you get your expensive ones going and do cuttings, and you could sell those here and there. I mean, just a little bit,
Yeah. Yeah. The plant for me is just more of an enjoyable thing. I don't imagine I'm going to make any money. I'm just trying not to lose my money on its death, So, okay. So we were talking about the shows, and you do geckos and plants, which I love. I love that, especially now that we have Palm, you can do either or, right? You can sell geckos and you do well with that. You can sell plants, you do well with that. And so moving into like talking about Palm Street and having that avenue to kind of do both, how has your experience been doing the live shows? And you just how many have you done so far? 2 or 3? 2. Okay. One was geckos, one was plants.
Yes.
Okay. And you're enjoying it? It's been good?
I like it a lot. And I don't like what we're doing. I don't like these live things.
Yeah.
So I was super nervous the first one. I got through it, and everybody is so helpful on there and so welcoming. Agreed. Like all the new people that I've met on there, just plant people, and then other gecko people that I've never talked to ever and just met for the first time on Palm. Everybody's been awesome.
Yeah.
And then the second one was a lot better. So I'm figuring tomorrow will be even better. And it's just going to get easier and easier once we get a rhythm going. And
same for me. Like so I was doing it since Reptile People started. It was 2 months now, and I've been doing it every week. And just finding different ways to kind of be structured, but at the same time make it feel kind of flowy and organic, and not freaking out over the tech or something. And so it gets better for sure. And I'm glad that you're able to kind of enjoy and move animals and interact with the community. I think it's like a win-win, all the way around.
It's fun. And then I enjoy yours because you do a lot of I don't know, like teaching. I feel like more
Yeah, the educating and answering questions.
And I feel like I miss out. Like my first live, I planned on talking about bioactive stuff. That never happened. Like that.
Yeah. You get distracted. Yeah, it's not easy. It's not easy.
Yeah, it's so easy to kind of get caught up and lost and
in the chats. And
it was.
Yeah, I actually write notes. So like I have this like my light box, right, and my camera points towards me. Actually right behind on the back wall of the light box, like notes in terms of what I want to touch on. I don't always get through it, but then like, oh, I should do a giveaway here or giveaway here, right? And so I kind of try to make it a little bit more structured. but yeah, I mean, yeah, I do like kind of like the Q&A aspect of people asking questions, and then like I'll show my eggs and my incubator and things like that at the end, and people can see things that hatch. So yeah, just I think it brings excitement towards kind of a lot of the new breeders, and even like the old school breeders. Like we still like to see each other's stuff and talk about projects we're working on and whatnot, right? So this is why the podcast is fun too, because we get to kind of deep dive into it a little bit. So
Yeah, I like it because it's all just like with the plants. There's always different ways to do things, and you kind of find your own niche to make things work. So it's the same
yeah.
with Crestie geckos. So I've been enjoying them, just learning how people do things differently. Me like,
Mm,
oh, that's a great idea. Maybe I should try it like that. Or I'm always
yeah.
learning. It's always you're always learning.
Yep. Yep. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I mean, this is another side conversation, but have you ever had humidity issues with your babies
Yes, and yes,
and shed issues?
yes.
Have you lost a lot of babies at any point from shed issues?
No,
Okay.
I
Okay.
had a friend though that did.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I mean, yeah, the reason I ask is I was hoping that you did a little bit, not that you lost babies, but that you did, so that I can like ask you about that, because like for me, I've been having a lot of shed issues for whatever reason, and I can't quite figure it out. Um, and so
There's, and
yeah.
it's good to talk to people because when my friend this happened to, there was like a new rack involved. There was
Mm,
some different factors, and we were like, could there have been a chemical on
yeah,
that PVC or something? And da da da. We were going through all this thing. Well, and they just started, and it was all from different pairings, and they just started slowly dying.
mm,
And she even got the, what are they called? The I can't say it,
good enough.
where they get the autopsy done.
Okay, yeah, uh-huh.
And they couldn't find anything wrong with any of these
Oh,
babies, and that's not cheap.
yeah,
Come to find out, we didn't even think about it, but there wasn't enough ventilation in the actual tub that was in the
yeah.
rack,
Okay,
and
so
that
it's too humid.
it was too humid, and it was just killing them
Mm,
off. It was
yeah,
just too much for them. And as soon as we figured that out, well, they corrected it, and it was no problem.
yeah. Yeah. No, that's interesting. Yeah, yeah. For me, like I just can't figure it out. I mean, I had never had shed issues until like 2 months ago. And obviously I had the new hatch room, but then I changed a lot of different factors. I brought a couple racks back upstairs where over here where I used to have them. I had them for the last 2 seasons, and zero shed issues, and here I am having some shed issues. So anyway, yeah. It's
Yeah,
just
we'll have to dissect everything and try to break it down because
yeah.
sometimes it's just something super simple that it goes by the wayside. You don't even think that that could be a
Yeah.
factor, and it
Maybe
is.
it's me feeding them Pangea a growth and breeder and it's killing them.
Oh
Or
no.
start that conspiracy theory. It's yeah.
Maybe.
So how's your season going? I know we talked a little bit about offline about kind of not anything wrong per se, but just the aspect of having some breeders and females not laying as much as we want and things like that. How's your season going with your projects and things like that? And we'll talk
It's
about pixels as well.
it's been awful. It's been one of those seasons, and it seems like maybe every couple years I have one of those seasons, but it tends to be like
Yeah.
a lot of virgins I'm running. So they're either nobody's wanting to either do the deed, or
Okay.
I'm getting visual locks and they're not laying,
Mm,
or they're just laying duds.
yeah.
It's nonstop, and especially with the Pixel project, that's how it's been
Uh,
for me. The universe says, not this year, you're not going to find out
no.
what's going on.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean what you mentioned that you had to like kind of prove it out, right? So line bred a little bit. Um how much have you outcrossed in terms of trying to kind of help? And again, I don't know if that's what causes the issues of that. We don't even know because they're all virgins, right? So even I have some normal virgins that are, like that aren't, they're perfectly fine, and even some of them are having issues. So it could just be that they're virgins, right? That they're just
Right.
not. So, but how much of that is going on in terms of trying to figure out what's causing the issues, or we just don't know?
I don't know.
Okay,
Some of them now are just now laying fertles. So
got
like
it. Pretty
I
late. Yeah,
started trying to pair them up October, November, December, because
yeah,
that's usually my sweet spot here
yeah.
for
So
pairing.
last year, so that
And they're just now doing
I
that.
know. Okay, now they're cycling. Maybe they needed to skip a year, so now you're good. Yeah,
Yeah.
you're good for next year.
So
This
I'm
coming
like,
season.
okay, well, whatever. And that happens. Like, I don't think it's anything necessarily because I have some other stuff that's doing it too. And
Hmm.
you've been doing it for several years. You get that, like
Yeah,
with anything, like they
yeah.
just, and I mean, you even get seasoned breeders that give you the same trouble. It's not, they don't
Mhm.
always just, it doesn't always just work like you
Yeah,
want it to, unfortunately.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's true. So that's been pretty frustrating for you this season. You have a pretty big group. Like, how many geckos do you have, and how many breeders do you have going?
I breeders, maybe 300.
Wow, that's a lot. How
And
many female breeders?
I don't know. I
Okay, okay.
I have no idea.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. I understand what you mean. Like
Probably
once you hit,
half that.
yeah,
I have more males than females.
got it. Okay,
Always.
okay.
I have a problem.
Yeah. So I mean that must mean that you obviously can't use all your males. You have so many males just sitting there.
I
You got to
do.
sell them. Yeah,
It's
you got to move them.
yeah, yeah. My daughter sometimes I come home with these males and she was like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "There's something. There's like this is
Yeah,
cool."
yeah,
And it's hard because I'll have some males sometimes I won't get rid of them because like I see something and see some sort of potential and I have a plan, but I have
yeah.
to find that perfect female for them. And so
Got
I've
it.
had them sitting here for a couple years. I've had one sitting for it's going on. Well, at the 7 year mark, I finally found a female for him, so he finally bred. And I
Okay.
kind of feel bad for him in a way, but it's like
He's like an
I don't
old
know.
man by now.
It's hard because males are super important in your breeding projects. They really are.
Yes, yes, absolutely.
And so yeah, it's kind of funny because everybody's like, if you need a specific male, just hit up Kristen because she's probably got it.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, I had no idea you had that many breeders. I mean, I know. I mean, if you say you have like 700 something geckos, I'm like, okay, yeah, you have a lot of breeders. Um, but where did you? I mean, where does that all go? Like, is it? Do you have like a gecko room, or is it in your
I
house?
Yeah, I do have a whole room, and
Oh,
it's pretty packed.
in your house, or is it separate?
No, it's in my house,
Oh,
so
okay.
it's a regular, just size bedroom.
You can fit all of that in a regular size bed. How big is his bedroom? Is it like a
It's
20
not.
by 20?
No, I don't know
Oh,
how big it is. I wish my husband was here because he would know. But so
wow.
pretty much everything is stacked to the ceiling, and there's kind of like I wouldn't say rows in the room, but
Yeah.
it's kind of packed in there.
Okay.
I,
Okay.
I
So you
need
have,
I need to do. I've been meaning to go in there and video it.
yeah, you have some aisles basically in that room.
I have like one aisle, yeah.
Okay. That's smart. I should do that in this room too.
But it gets
Oh,
where we're at. So the thing is I don't want to come out of that room with geckos. Like
okay. Okay.
we have other animals and stuff that are elsewhere, like that are centerpieces in our house.
Yeah.
But as far as geckos go, they cannot come out of that room. And
Wow. Okay.
so I have to limit myself because we just can't. I kept a friend's collection of about the same amount for a while, and it
No,
wasn't, we kept them for 8 months, and
you can do it. Yeah.
it was too much. Like everything was just getting fed. Like
Yeah.
smaller things, we were losing like tips of tails because we weren't catching shed stuck on there. Like it
Yeah.
was bad. So you have to realize at a point like how much is too much
Yeah.
because then the animals suffer.
Yep.
So it was just we were hating life. We were hating going in the room. And it was in another bedroom too. We had two rooms of it, and it was just and so like one room is our capacity. We can't go over.
I mean, I'm just blown away you have that many animals in one room. Like I legit have like this room, like a side room, and then I have a whole new gecko build out in my backyard. I was like, how do you keep so many geckos? Like I'm just kind of racking my brain. I'm like, where do you put everything? Like I feel like maybe I have at this point maybe more space than you. But
Oh yeah.
you have so many geckos. That's crazy.
I'm good at packing things. Everything is very,
Yeah, 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 yeah. Yep.
I don't know.
And then I mean, how you must have like so many hatchlings too, right? And then
Yes.
what is a sweet age where you begin to sell geckos? When you are they like 10 grams, and that takes about what 6 months?
No, not necessarily. Um, because I do feed bugs on a regular basis,
Yeah,
so they tend to
they go
grow a little
quicker.
bit
Quicker.
faster.
Yeah.
Um, I normally I don't like to sell like anything that's less than 4 months or so.
Okay.
And typically by then, most of mine are anywhere between like 6 to 8 grams,
Okay. Yeah.
around that size. Some of them, no, they're smaller, but the majority of
Yeah.
them are usually, and that's around when I like to really sell them, unless it's something like super expensive or something that I know it's going to another breeder, then I don't care as
Yeah.
much.
Then you could sell it like small and it'll be
Yeah.
fine. Yeah. No, I'm kind of there too. Like yeah, I realize like if I could get these things to 6 months, then they'll be probably like 15 grams plus, you know. But 6 to 8 grams is not bad to sell either. They look pretty nice at that point, but a little bit more size would be good. And so I'm running into the problem where like I have like a lot of grow outs, and I don't know if you have this problem. Maybe not because you have so many animals anyway, big animals. But I'm at the point where I need to grow these things quicker so I can sell them, right? Because I'm running out of like big animals to move and sell,
Gotcha.
and now I just have a bunch of little grow outs, and I'm like, oh man, I might have a lull in terms of sales because um, I just have to wait for these things to grow, and so yeah, I guess just keep feeding bugs and, and cranking them out, I guess.
Feeding
Um,
bugs, you might bump up their temperature a little bit too if you can.
what's your temps at for your room? You
I
have your breeders.
usually,
You have your breeders and your hatchlings in there, right?
yep.
Okay.
They're all kept the same.
78.
It typically is 78, 80.
Yeah, that's where I'm at too. Yeah, yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, they eat a little bit better the response, right? And
Mhm.
whatnot. Yeah.
Yep.
Um. Okay. Talking about your pixel project, uh, a lot of your, you're talking about how you've had a lot of like frustrations with females and not laying fertiles. Is a lot of that with kind of your pixel projects as well?
Yes.
Okay. How big is your pixel project, by the way?
So I have one, I don't know. I have three males and two females now. I only had one
Oh,
female, but I recently bought one of mine back that I
okay.
sold.
Okay. So that
So
you could,
now
yeah.
now I have the two. So I just picked her up at NARBC Arlington,
Okay.
or Dallas. So I have her, and I'm not sure exactly which route I'm going to go with her. But the
Hmm.
other female is not. She's laying duds. I can't
Oh,
get.
I thought you would have had like a bigger
No.
project with them. Oh, you don't. You just have a small project with them.
I just, yeah, just those. As far as, so the original mom Tinker, she passed away, and I'm not sure.
No.
I don't know what happened.
Hmm.
Um, I have no idea.
Oh,
I
sorry.
I don't think she was egg bound or anything. I almost feel like she like choked on. She had dirt in her mouth, so I
Oh
don't know.
no. So she's impacted with
I
the
think maybe
substrate.
that's what happened. I don't. That's
Okay.
that's sometimes some of the downside of keeping things on substrate.
Yeah. Yeah.
It can happen. It doesn't happen very often, no, but
Yeah.
it
But it does
definitely.
happen. Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry.
Um.
I didn't know.
So she had given me. Now I don't remember. Two. She had given me, I guess, a set. Yeah, one clutch before she passed away, and I got two pixels out of that.
Okay.
But I have picked up some other things that I thought maybe are, um, and I'm hoping they're in the mix with all my stuff too right now.
Yeah.
And then I picked up, I was able, and this is all because of the community and
Yeah.
just me posting about it. I have met some people that I didn't even know existed that happen to have like
Pixels.
parents
Hmm.
of the ones that I picked up.
Okay. Yeah.
And so we're collabing and doing all that. together.
Okay.
Trying to figure that out. So one of those is it's breakfast in the park, and her first egg should be hatching like by this weekend, I hope.
Yeah.
Within the next week or so. And
Okay.
she is not visually, she's a red harlequin, but she is the mom to one of the ones that I picked up that looks pretty pixely.
Okay.
So anyway, we're hoping. I don't know. We'll see. She was bred to one of my male pixels.
Okay. Yeah. The pixel thing is, I mean, it's interesting. I know a lot of people at this point have pixels, or things that are possible pixels. We have those Facebook groups and things like that, and we have Serena Canvas with pixels. We have you. I have some pixel stuff, a small project. Robbie, Dan, and Gecko Harmony. I know like a bunch of people have some stuff that they're working on, but from your perspective, do we have like a definitive understanding of what this thing is yet? Is there like, some people are saying there's like different variants. What do we know? What do we know?
Absolutely nothing.
Yeah. Oh, that's funny. So like a bunch of us got pixels from AC. I was one of them, and I paired my male to outside of his collection, obviously, because he has I think he has a closed collection, right? Does he bring anything?
I think he had said like not long ago he brought in something, but yeah, as far as I know, he pretty much has a closed collection.
Yeah. So according to him, like he thought it was maybe an incomplete dominant, and that if you pair this, you'll get some pixels, and so it's like, okay. So I tried it, and I paired it to a handful of females and 0 visual pixels, right? So that makes me, from my small sample size, conclude that okay, maybe it's recessive, right?
Right.
It's interesting because like the ones that do come out does have they do have like certain, I don't want to call them markers, maybe, I don't know, but there are unique like patterning or dots on it that that mimics kind of the dad, but obviously it's not like a full on like the pixelation that we're used to seeing, and so we'll have to, I guess, prove it out and see what it is.
Yeah, we'll have to. It's so hard doing it. I wish we could like have like a big get together and us bring some so we can all compare. Because I've been going off of what I think are markers too, but I'm not like picking up specific things, but it's not always the case, it seems like. So that kind of blew things out of the water too for me, as far as looking at some of the stuff that could potentially be. I've been with a lot of others too, just talking, trying to compare things, looking at every little thing on all these animals, trying to see if there's like one thing that sticks out and correlates.
And
there's really not. And then there's like all these things that are being grouped into pixel too that aren't, or there's some stuff that I think that's a totally different. It's a possible another gene maybe. So I think it's going to be, we just need to kind of dissect it and figure out exactly what it is that is making, because like I see things like mine and Pangea's are super comparable. Could ours be from the same line? It's possible. I don't know. Gecko Junkie doesn't keep, he's pretty sure that he bred it, but he doesn't know, could it have come from Pangea? Like, it could have, like,
because he doesn't keep track of this stuff.
No.
Yeah.
And so I have no idea, but like, it's hard for me when people ask me about these other ones that look nothing like mine or Pangea's. It's super hard for me to be like, well, maybe, because mine are very distinct looking.
Yes.
Pangea's are very distinct looking.
AC's is distinct looking. Yeah.
Yes. But AC's is very different though on most of his when you're looking, and it's the pinning that is killing me. Like, is messing me up, I think, because the pinning in AC's is very dominant.
Yes.
But
and you don't have pinning in yours.
No, not at all. And I felt like that's what the gene did, was break all that up. So I'm just like, and I've said this, like, is ACs the same as what mine and Pangea's are? I still don't know. I really don't. I'm not for sure. And mine's behaving recessively, but could it be line bred? Maybe.
Yeah.
Could it be something else? Maybe. I haven't done all the stuff to disprove or prove it yet. But and I'm very clear with anybody that asks me, or oh my gosh, what happened? That buys my stuff. Oh no. Why did it flip all of a sudden?
I don't know. It'll reset. Yeah, there goes.
Okay. I'm very clear on what that don't take, like, I don't have enough. I'm very I'm like, please.
We don't
like,
nothing definitive. Yeah.
Yes. Like, if you buy into this, just understand that
it's a shit show.
A little bit. And it's fun. It's given, like, it's consumed my life basically, and I love it, but then I hate it all at the same time because it's super nerve-wracking, because when it comes down to it and you stumble on something new like this, you have to do all the things to prove it or
yes. It does take a long time, I feel like, to prove out a gene. You know, some people will be like, oh, this is exactly this. I'm like, no, you gotta outcross things. You gotta prove it out and do the work, and that takes several generations, right, to really solidify an answer of what it is. And so we're still in the beginning phases of figuring this stuff out, you know. And so all I can speak of is that whatever I have, it's not that's all I'm going off of right now. I see that, you know, I don't have any visual babies, but I did produce a bunch of stuff that looks a little bit different. Whether they're het markers or not, I don't know. We'll just have to figure it out as we kind of, go and breathe things back in and try to prove it out, right? So
it's going to be a lot of work from everybody, it seems like. And I know with mine, I'm trying to do it the right way and outcross. I mean, I could easily bred two visuals together, brother and sister, but that's not the route that I wanted to take at all. Because it does need to be outcrossed as much as I would like to see what happens, but I won't do it.
Maybe if you had more pairings, then and just do that one to test it out. Right. I mean, if you're testing, essentially that's what we're doing with Sable, right? Sable, we had to like pair siblings together. We had to pair, it just had to be done in order to kind of prove the thing out. And so for something like this, if you did that, I don't think anybody would have been angry at you, you know? So.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just trying to do the best that I can.
Yeah. No, that's fair. And I think that's
trying to do the right thing, by it. Yeah. And I'm not trying. Sometimes it does feel like a race, but I'm trying to, it's not a race. And all this stuff is super important. And if someone beats me to it, by all means, that's great, because then it gives me something better to go off of.
Yeah.
No, I keep hoping Pangea says something, because I'm like, I want to know.
Who's the Pangea spokesperson besides John? Like, is there somebody we talk to be like, hey, how is this pixel thing going? Because they're just like a somewhat of a machine, right? I don't know. Someone called you. Yeah, we have you back. So, we were talking about Pangea. Like, who do we talk to at Pangea to figure out the pixel thing?
I don't know. As far as I know, they're wanting to kind of do their own article and announce their results on their own.
Okay.
First. Yeah. I don't know when that's going to be. Hopefully soon. I don't.
Yeah. I don't. I mean, the thing is, I don't think Pixel is a money grab, because at this point it's one of those things where we're just trying to figure it out, and we don't have to. It's not like an Exantic where you're going to make $1 zillion like in the beginning. Like, I think Pixel is interesting. It's fun. But, man, at this point, people are selling Pixels for... I mean, are people selling Pixels for cheap at this point? What is the market on them? Are they still... know? Okay.
I don't... I know what Pangea sold theirs for.
Like 5K or something?
No, I think I sold mine for 5K.
Okay.
I sold 3 for 5K.
Okay.
And then I bought one back for the same amount that I sold it for.
Okay, so it's still. I mean, we're still in that realm where people that are interested are willing to take that gamble, which I did too with AC stuff, right? It was pricey, and bought 2 of them, and so yeah, but yeah, we don't know exactly what the market at this point. I don't know what the market looks like. It's like because nobody
No,
really knows what it is
no,
or how to
I don't think
breed it.
anybody's really produced them consecutively other
Yeah,
than
that's
us
correct.
3. That's like just a small number. And
Yeah.
I know Pangeas, the last ones were going for like, I want to say some were 600 to
Okay.
1,000, like the baby pixels, the last ones that they sold.
Oh wow. Okay.
Super
Yeah.
cheap. So
Yeah.
all the people that, and I think I know everybody that bought those too.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
we're all kind of
Gotta
keeping
figure it out.
in
Talks. Yeah. Yeah.
contact with each other, trying
Yeah.
to get it sorted. And then a couple of those people bought potential hets from me,
Okay.
like 50%,
Okay.
to go with their Pangea pixel. So,
Got it. Okay.
but
Yeah.
they're
I
all
mean,
small, so it's going to be a minute.
yeah. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I mean, if it is recessive, I mean, for the stuff that I have at least, then I just have Soul 100% hets, and so I have a bunch of those. So we'll figure that out as we go, I guess. But yeah, I think I mean, have you talked with? I know Robbie had pixels. I know Dan early on, like it was Robbie, Dan, Gecko Harmony, and then you. And so I kind of reached out. And have you talked with them at all and kind of figure out what they're going on with their stuff, or do you know?
Yes. Hold on just a second.
Oh, yeah. No worries. No worries. Go.
Did you find it?
Yes.
Okay.
I sent it to Donnie already. Sorry
Okay.
about that.
No, you're good. Okay.
No, you good. You good.
Like my husband needed a copy of my driver's license.
Oh, okay. You got it.
So, yeah, I talked to Robbie. As far as the pixel that he had picked up from AC, he paired it with a Frappuccino and didn't get any visuals as far as his understanding of what everything looked like. So,
Okay. Got it.
and he does have what would be 100% het from my lines. So I don't know if he's going to pair her to him and see what happens or anything like that. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. The TLDR on the Pixel project is like, we don't know. Just it's a gamble if you come in and try to work it out. But I mean, at the same time, it's still kind of fun. Like working on new stuff and trying to, yeah, I think that's what makes Crested Geckos fun too. It's kind of like there are so many factors and things that we don't know yet about Cresteds.
Yes.
And I really think that the fact that we're chasing something makes it exciting. If we already knew everything that was laid out, like that's not fun, right?
No.
So it is fun to kind of pair, and it's a waiting game, and so like it's you have to be patient, but at the same time all of us are a little impatient. So it makes us kind of like so but I think that's what makes it fun too, the whole aspect of trying to figure out something is it keeps us going.
It does. It's
hoping that this pairing is gonna prove out. It's like oh no, the eggs are no good, sucks. Maybe next year.
And that's with all other things too. Like I have other things going on too, and it's just like, ugh. Or something hatches that's like completely not what you wanted at all.
Yeah.
So have you ever tried to dual sire or like change the pairing up mid-season?
On just any animals?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yeah.
And how has that? Can you tell the difference? Do you think that the female uses the fresher sperm than?
I think we had this conversation with somebody on the pod, and we don't know, right? Exactly.
Yeah.
100%, right?
Right.
I think I think with the ones I did, I can't 100% tell, but I have a good. I feel like I'm like 90% sure.
Right.
Yeah, of certain things, because a lot of my stuff is like high white Harley stuff, and there's a little bit of a difference where I can be like, okay, yeah, that one's obviously from a different pairing or different dad. So
yeah, I was just curious. I've done it myself because I hatched out a couple of things and I'm like, this is not what I was expecting. But like, so I did it the drastic, like I would pair to a lily. something
Okay.
that wasn't
Okay.
paired to a lily, and then and I've gotten lilies out of it, so I knew that she ended up. But then, at what point do you think that she could use both type of thing? You know, I don't know. It gets down. I think about all those things, and then it's like it gets me crazy sometimes about all the different
That's right.
stuff there is.
Yeah, I think that's right. I was talking to Scott about that, and how we were talking about lineage and stuff, and how like do we ultimately have 100% certainty that lineage is this from other breeders, like especially if they even if you have a different pairing, like a different sire to even the next season, like sometimes they retains, right? And so if that's the case, like what do we do, and
I know.
and do we really, I don't know, it gets to the point where it's hard. Lineage is helpful for sure, but to some degree it's almost like it's not a bulletproof thing, unless you have this one pairing that stays forever, and of course, right?
There's a few factors there, but most of it you just really you never can
100% no. Yeah, especially if you're selling females, right? You're selling females and people are buying proven females, then you just don't 100% know all the time, unless it's like crystal clear obvious, like if you pair it to a cap or something. So so okay, so yeah, no. So it's interesting. The pixel thing, basically we don't know, nobody knows.
No.
We're still figuring out.
I wish I had all the answers. I really do. And anybody that ever asked me, I'm like, my honest opinion, I don't think it is, but it's neat. Like, keep it, hold on to it. I'm not, I'm not the person that knows it all, because I'm living on a prayer over here with all my stuff.
So yeah, just wanted to show us your is this one, oh, this is growing out right now, August 19th.
Is that last year or this year?
It looks like this year.
I don't know.
7 weeks ago. Yeah.
That might have been an old picture. I mean, an old video.
Oh, I see.
So now that I have the one back, I want to go out there, and it started to cool off some. I need to go out there and take a picture of all of them that I have together again.
Yeah. Well, besides the pixel stuff, do you what are some of your other main projects that you work on?
I have so many.
Oh my gosh.
So that one right there.
Which one?
I don't know what that is, but I cannot wait to find out. The one that you just clicked on?
This one?
Yeah.
Does it come from your Tinker line?
No, I picked it up at a expo.
Oh.
No lineage.
It has like these weird spots on its back.
It's wild. Her name's Dorito Strange.
Like Doctor Strange, but Doritos.
Yeah. So she's not fully. She was kind of. I had to drop her tail because her tail was like. I kind of got into it with the person that had it on the table, because her tail was rotting.
Oh no!
Like, no. Anyway.
Yeah.
I dropped it because it was just too.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Oh.
Stop.
Doggy.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Tater.
That's right.
What? He's barking at my other dog. Stop it. Tater. What the heck? Stop. What are you doing?
Those are like my dogs.
Oh my gosh. There's no escaping them either from her.
Yeah. No worries.
Stop it. Maybe. What are you doing? Oh my gosh. Tater.
Is it like a tater tot? No, you're good, Chris. Don't worry.
Noah.
Tater. Come here, buddy.
He's barking at Tank, and I don't know why.
Oh, it's Tater. Yeah.
Anyway, she's not even like, she was like 34 grams or so, and I knew that she had to have been housed with other geckos.
Yeah.
Anyway, she started laying. fertile
Okay.
eggs.
Okay.
So they've already hatched. Like her first ones have already hatched. They're really cool. She's doing good, even though she's on the smaller side. So that's good.
Yeah.
But it kind of upset me.
Did you paired her to
I didn't pair her to anything.
Oh. I see.
So she was, I'm sure, housed with 1,000 other geckos and got, bred there. But
Yeah,
yeah,
got it.
she
Got it.
started,
Okay.
yeah. But they're really pretty. Nothing like that on her back yet, but I'm keeping an eye on them. And she has more eggs, but I'm not sure exactly what I'm going to do with her or try to even mix her into the pixel stuff. I don't know,
Yeah.
but she's really cool. So I like all the odd stuff.
It kind of gives you some Ripper line vibes with like an extra twist, right?
Yeah, a little bit. So I like the real tigery, brindley, brindley stuff. And then I'm really digging the phantom empty back stuff
Okay.
as well. Even though I'm not a huge fan of pinstripes like those, I love that.
Yeah, for sure.
And I have some weird phantom stuff that has like some patterning, but the pattern on them is like this gold color. So I'm messing with that. I have a little bit of everything.
Yeah, you got a lot of stuff. What is this? Is this a dark phantom?
Yes.
Okay, nice. Yeah, you got a bunch of stuff. Is there something that people like kind of I mean, I guess people know you for kind of your pixel projects, but are there other things that people kind of hit you up for? Ripper line, and what else what are the other things? This is really cool, by the way, this little tiger thing.
Just the funky stuff. So like I have a lot of the tigery stuff.
Okay.
A lot of the stuff gets kind of sold behind the scenes.
Yeah.
I don't know. I do have a lot of funky stuff that's not necessarily the norm of everything. And I do have a lot of dark and orangey stuff, but it still has white in it, so you can't really say that it's Halloween.
Yeah,
but
got it.
I'm trying to work more on the Halloween aspect of getting that dialed in really well. So I've held on to all that stuff.
The bright orange Halloween.
Yeah.
Is this the dog that was barking?
No.
Oh. So cute.
But she does too.
That's so cute. Yeah. I think it's I think it's fun. I do like that you have a lot of different variety, because a lot of people, I don't know if this is the case now, but at least when when I started off, then I was like hyper focused. I did have a variety a little bit, but then I was really hyper focused on high white stuff, extremes, extreme high white stuff, and like now I'm third season in, just hatching a ton of extremes. So I've seen so many extremes. I'm like, and it's good because I can begin to pick out like certain traits and things where I know it's going to be like a nice one. So that's the upside. The downside is that sometimes I'll hatch out. I only have one pairing of Dalmatians, and I'll hatch out a Dalmatian. I was like, oh, here's something different, but for you see something different all the time, and so that's that must be nice.
It is, but then it has its disadvantages too, because then I feel like a lot of the times I'm all over the place with stuff. It's hard to hone in on something sometimes. Like I really reduced my Dalmatians to just a couple pairs now, because I do like them. I always feel like you should breed what you like, but I'm limited on my space, so I have to decide what I want to pay more attention to, and that keeps me grounded, just giving myself that restriction. And then my daughter helps too with trying to keep me grounded as well. She's my little mini me, but she Mother Hubbards me sometimes and is like, you better stop.
That's cool. How old's your daughter?
She's 21.
Oh, okay. She's a full grown adult, like working and helping out, and
yes,
that's good. Okay, yeah. My oldest is 15. My daughter, and then my son is 12 or 13. He's about to be 13, and then they were helping me during the summer. But then school hits, and then now I'm doing everything myself again. And so I was like, oh, it'd be so nice to have like somebody just dedicated to be very consistent with it. So you have that. So she basically works with
Yeah.
you on the business. Okay.
She does, and I hate to say this, everybody's like, I'm so jealous, but I don't do any feeding anymore at all.
That's awesome. Yeah.
She feeds.
Yeah.
I squirrel a lot. Like I get in there and
Mm.
she's very OCD about a lot of things. And I
Yeah.
am too. But when I go in there and I'm trying to feed, I can't turn off like feed and get through everything and just do a quick check on the gecko.
I
I'm
know
like,
exactly what you mean.
oh, and then like 20 minutes goes by and you're still admiring one gecko and you have
Taking
all
pictures.
yes. So it's like she goes, you've got because we used to tag team it, and she was like, you've got to get out of here because I cannot
Yeah.
work with you.
Yeah. You're taking too long, Mom.
Yeah, she was like, you can do that after, and I'm like, but it's just easier to do it right now. I'll forget, and
I
then
know.
what happens with that? Then you forget to feed them.
Yes. Yeah.
And then you end up with these extra cups, and then you have to go through everything trying to forget
Yeah.
who you didn't feed. It's
What's crazy? That's crazy. I'm sure this happens to a lot of breeders too. Like last night, I got home late. It was like 11 or something, and then the kids were sleeping, and then I was like, oh, I'm so tired. I should go to sleep, right? But I was like, oh, let me go upstairs, check on the geckos really quick. Just want to check on this one animal. I open the box, I look at it, and I was like, oh, this is pretty nice. I started looking through other things, and then 4 hours later, I was still in the gecko room, and I didn't go to sleep till 4 in the
oh
morning.
my gosh.
Right? It's because like you just get sucked into this world of geckos and like the gecko care and stuff, and so I just need to make it a point where I'm like, okay, don't go upstairs at all. Like after a certain time, do your feeding and then just like leave.
Put a timer on your phone.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, I stopped taking my phone. What I started doing is stop taking my phone into the gecko room.
Ah, okay.
To keep me from like trying to do videos or pictures. But then there's a downside to that because then I don't get content. If I don't end up taking those pictures or whatever, but it does, I don't know. It's one of those things like you're damned if you do, damned if you don't type of thing.
I think it's kind of fun though to have like a big enough collection like that where you will get lost in it if you want.
It's super nice.
Yeah, but you're also at a point where it's like, okay, you gotta set boundaries, otherwise you'll never get anything done. So
you definitely have to, otherwise you definitely do get lost in there. I mean, there's some days that I'm having a bad day and I just go lay on the floor in the gecko and just like woo-saw and chill out. I'm not necessarily even looking at anything or have a gecko out. I'm just in there.
Yeah. Oh man, that's crazy. So your daughter helps you at the shows and stuff, and
not at the shows.
Not at the shows. Okay.
She's
just the care.
Yeah, she's done a few of the shows. She doesn't like getting on this type of thing. She does really well when she has gone to the shows with me because she knows everything. Like I'm super proud of her because she knows. Like, dude,
I'll let you go in a second too, Chris. I know you have a lot going on, but
if my dogs are just like, oh, it's like having children.
Yeah.
So like with the egg thing, like, do you know, like when you get eggs and you candle them, you can kind of tell some of them that aren't really that fertile. Like they're most likely not going to make it, but you incubate
it's going to start molding. Yeah.
So she's like gotten all that down to a T, and it's like, I've taught her. The only thing she can't do is sex anything half the time, but she's pretty good about how they grow.
Yeah.
She can almost nail it every time if it's a male or female within like the first 5 or 6 months.
Oh wow. Yeah.
She can tell without. She was like, "What's that one? Come in here and start sexting. I want to see if I'm right." And then she'll be like, "That's a male." And I'll look. Yep, sure enough, it's a male.
Okay.
So
that's cool.
It's kind of funny.
She's not good with the loop and looking for the pores and stuff.
No, she doesn't. Yeah, she's like she needs to wear glasses and she doesn't. So that's part of her problem.
Yeah. I mean, so like talking about and we'll kind of close out soon. I know you have a ton of stuff to do, but talking about like variety, like as people, and we have a lot of new breeders that watch the podcast, and will message either me or AJ. And, a lot of times that near the end, we kind of have like new breeder advice stuff. As we talk about the variety of stuff that you have, what is the best way for a new breeder to step in? Should they like buy a ton of different stuff first and then kind of feel out what they like and then, sell off the other things that they don't want to work on? Or should they just like figure out what they want first and then hyper focus on that? What is your, coming from different backgrounds, you and I, in terms of what we have, what is your advice and how has it worked out? How will you think it'll work out for them?
So in the beginning, I kind of just bought whatever that I could afford.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't necessarily think that's the best route to go. I think you should get what you want and save up for what you want. And I would say get smaller. Don't go breeder. Don't get breeders. At least get 20 gramish.
Yeah.
I'm an advocate for watching them grow because it really does teach you a lot if you pay attention to them, and it really does help you assess what you could potentially get out of pairings too. And then it helps with those babies. And it's good to keep, especially the first generation of babies, grow them up to 15, 20 grams or so.
Yeah.
So you get an idea of how they grow and how they change. Because it will teach you, you'll know when you have hatchlings hatch how they're going to develop later on. You can almost 100% guarantee what this is going to be.
Yeah.
And that comes with experiencing the growing out stages. So get you some mid-sized stuff, but start out smaller and you know what you're getting to, unless you're getting it from a breeder that has a good reputation and stuff. Because sometimes people get breeders and they're old and they won't.
Yeah.
They won't produce. So
I fell into that.
Get some stuff that, either from somebody that you trust or some smaller stuff, especially as far as females goes, because I've been personally ripped off that way. I know others have been ripped off that way, and it really sucks.
It sucks.
So, but do what you want. Have a plan. Don't just willy-nilly throw stuff together. Like I said, I kind of did that in the beginning. Because I didn't know what I was doing at all. I didn't have really anybody to mentor me or anything like that. I just was
just put them together.
Whatever.
Figure it out as you go.
Now I know better. So I think it's definitely important to kind of get an idea of what you want to make and save your money for it and start getting into that. And it's okay to have different projects. I'm all for it. Or hyper focus like you on something specific. There is no right or wrong way to go, really, as far as that goes.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah, I think that's just the concern for people is, the move, market, which is always going to be in flux anyways, right? The market and how you can sell and move things, if you get, and a lot of new people fall into this too, and some of us are guilty as well in terms of oh, what's going to sell, let me get the morphs. So now you have all these new breeders just buying a ton of morphs, and you look at their page, it's all morphs. I'm like, oh my gosh. I'm not against morphs, by the way. I have the morphs. It just sucks. I shouldn't say this. It's if new breeders are 100% morphs and not working on normal stuff, I feel like that's a little bit telling of what's going on. And again, I can't say that with absolute certainty. I just think that it's good to have a variety of other things along with the morphs. So
right, it definitely is. One of the things I have an F2 and an F3. The F2 came from Guardian geckos.
Okay. Where did you get it from? How do you get an F2?
So I don't know the whole thing. Yeah, I know.
Got it.
Brian, who was saying, well, you don't really know where it came
from.
Oh,
he talked about it too. I should ask Brian. No,
I have lineage on it. And he's a little guy. I mean, he's a little buckskin. He doesn't get over 32 grams.
Yeah.
And he's actually thrown some weird stuff for me. And I am mixing, and that's working backwards, but I'm mixing him into a lot of different things just to try to break things up. And it's actually been working out fairly well.
Okay.
So, sometimes your little ugly ducklings can pack a punch. And I'm not saying breed bad quality animals or anything like that. Don't get me wrong, but sometimes some of that stuff is holding something. And just try to make the best out of it that you can. Do your research and then research the background on the animals, just like the whole breeder female thing. I'm not knocking selling breeder females at all. I do.
Yeah.
But just do your research. Just make sure that, they're still of good age and stuff. Because they will slow down on giving you eggs when they get older.
Yeah. Well, anytime I buy, and I learned this from AJ, I think he mentioned it on the podcast before, anytime I buy like a proven female, I ask like, when's the last time they laid, how many seasons have they had off? And that's not like, it's not 100% like they're not going to lay again, but they're always about probabilities and stuff, right? And so
yes, definitely ask those questions, ask all those things.
Yeah.
And if somebody doesn't know, then probably you need to steer clear.
Yeah. I try not to buy things from like randoms as much as possible. Yeah. Oh, doggy. Yeah. Okay, cool. So, we'll say, are there any other things in terms of like projects and things moving forward that you want to, that you're like super excited about besides the pixels? What are some of the, things that you're excited for moving forward?
Of course, the Ripper stuff, outcrossing, all that stuff. Of course, it is related to the pixel stuff.
It came from the pixel stuff.
Yes.
Okay.
It originated from there. So get that outcrossed a lot more. It is super consistent. The only thing that it is not consistent with is a quad stripe. So I tell everybody, like, if you want to keep the Ripper look, do not breed it to a quad stripe, because I did it.
They're completely opposite things, because the quads and the pins like don't work with the tigery, like
it's super, to me, quad stripe is super hard to break up. So it's very dominant, I believe, in how it interacts with things, and it usually outpowers anything else. The other biggest project that I am like super excited about is making tiger lilies. So
do you have any on your page?
Do what?
Do you have any on your page, your IG page?
I don't think I've posted any. So I have some babies that they're not full blown, but where the color has broken all the way across the back, the dorsal.
Wow.
I really think the lily is dominant in the pinning. Like, it's super hard to break across the back of a lily.
That is true.
For the most part. And I'm seeing very weird lilies now where you're getting that, like, you're seeing color pop through the dorsal. But trying to get it to go the horizontal way across, it's super hard. So I've been almost anything and everything that I've been seeing that it is starting to try to go across, I've been grabbing, snatching up, because I'm like, that's really cool. Yeah.
It is very hard to, I mean, we see some pictures from Korea where they have these like zero pins on these lilies, but they look very like weird and awkward in terms of, the structure and things like that. And so I'm not sure how they're achieving that, but it would be cool to see like something different than, like, most of our lilies have pins, right? So yeah, it'd be cool to see tiger lilies. I think we've seen some before in the States, but then it's not like very it's not very like, it's not a lot. It's not really like prevalent, right? In the hobby.
It's not, and I haven't seen a whole lot, and I haven't seen anything that's just like, bam, that's a tiger lily. You know what I mean? So I'm trying to break that code, and the first ones that I hatched out, I did put that F2 into. So it's an F2 offspring that I bred. And that actually happened. And I didn't even know that was going to happen, but it made it happen. So I was like, okay, cool. So now I'm building off of that.
Cool. It's exciting.
I don't know. I'm super excited about that, because I think there's still a lot to be done with the lilies too. There's a lot. The gecko world, there's a lot too. There's still lots of things to be seen.
Yeah, agreed. There's a lot of things to work on, which makes it exciting. So people who are concerned about, the market, don't worry about the market. Just like find some cool projects to work on. I mean, to me, it's that simple. Sure, we want to sell stuff, but also there's so many things to play with and work on. And I think that's why people should just keep, not be afraid to come into the hobby and work on projects and stuff like that.
No, right? it all has its ups and downs, and then like morphs have their ups and downs too. Sometimes Dalmatians are hot, and then other times they're completely not. And it all comes in waves.
Yep. I remember Janine saying that she couldn't sell, I think the Phantoms before, right? Nobody wanted the Dark Phantoms, and then once the Cap stuff came out, then everybody wanted the. Now she could, she couldn't make enough of them.
Yep.
And so comes and goes. So
It does.
just work on stuff you love. Cool. So Chris, where can we find you? How can people DM you and bother you? And
Instagram or Facebook, just type in Crestie Worx. Of course, I'm on Palm Street too.
Is your Palm link on here? It's not, huh?
No, I need to do that.
Okay. Yeah, throw it on there.
I'm bad at that. Yeah, I need to do that.
Do you do on Palm Street? Is it just kind of random scheduling for you right now, or do you have something consistent?
I did throw up a few for the rest of this month, and I need to figure out a schedule for next month.
Okay.
I kind of want to do it just like bi-monthly, but I know it helps. I want to get it on there sooner. That way you can get those 100 subscribers to get that little bit of a discount.
Yeah, I got you. Oh,
I'm all for a discount anywhere you can go.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I love this video. I showed Eli this video. He was smiling the whole time.
Like, I was hoping you would.
Yeah. He was really happy that you showed it. So
that's cute.
Eli's little crochet
awesome.
Awesome.
So I was trying to hype him up to start making reptile stuff.
Oh yeah, I told him like, people requested some isopods or geckos. He's like, oh, how do I make that? So I'll let him figure it out.
That's cool.
Awesome. Cool. So people can DM you. Is that the best way to reach you, Chris? Just DMs and Instagram?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Facebook, I don't use as much. Do you use Facebook a lot still?
No, not really.
Okay.
And I still don't even know how to completely use Instagram, but I know how to answer messages.
Yep, you're in the DMs. You're good.
So yeah, Instagram's the easiest.
Cool. And then is there a way for people to find you at shows? I know you do a lot of local Texas shows, right?
Yes, on my well, actually I have it pinned on my Facebook page. I'm not sure how to pin things on Instagram yet. Like albums or whatever. I don't know how to do that. But on my website it shows on the front page where I'm going to be on my shows.
Right here.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and then I try to keep up with that and make sure, but it's also pinned on my Facebook page. And I haven't taken that off. So I was going to Tinley and I'm not now.
Okay.
It was going to be me and my daughter, but life has thrown other things with the accident that we had. So
yeah, you got to take care of your health.
Yep.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, because Tinley is this week. So
yes. I'm super bummed. So maybe I'll make March.
Okay.
I've never been in March.
Are you planning on going to Flora Fauna again, or you are? Okay.
Yes.
You drove last time, which is crazy.
Did.
Was that like 14 hours? How long did that drive take?
24.
24 hours?
Yes. And that's 24 hours without stops. Like,
oh my goodness. Why don't you just fly there? Or you like to drive?
I don't know the logistics of shipping my plants, if it would be worth it or not. So
I see. Yeah, because I mean, obviously we know how to ship geckos in a big box, but the plants are maybe a little bit different, huh?
The plants are a lot different, and I'm not sure if it would be worth it just to make the drive. It really was not that bad. Coming home I was super excited going up, so it didn't seem as bad. Yeah. But on the way home, it took me a little longer because tired and just like I'm coming home and I want to come home, but
yeah.
I didn't have that excitement going on. So it was a little bit harder. I had to make more stops because I was tired. I was like, ugh.
Oh man. Yes, that's crazy that you drove there. Yeah. But yeah, okay, Flora Fauna, and then you'll do your shows that you can find on your website. And yeah, I was hoping to make Tinley this year, but I'm not going to. But maybe next year, and then maybe we'll catch you again.
I want to make it out to California so bad. I just haven't yet. I just want to come visit. Like I don't care about vending.
Yeah, come out to during a show week, and then you can hang out and stuff. You can go to Disneyland. I love Disneyland. Oh, you never been? Oh, you got to bring your family. Just go to Disney because the Anaheim show is literally right across the street from Disneyland.
Oh wow!
The convention center, so you could walk there. Yeah.
That's crazy.
So yeah, Cool, Chris. Yeah, well, appreciate you. Thank you so much for
Yes,
hanging
thank you.
out and taking your time. I know life is hectic and you have a lot of health stuff going, and so really, really appreciate you just taking your time to hang out and talk and chat and
For sure, for sure.
nerd out over geckos for a little bit. So yeah,
Yes,
so yep, follow Crestie Worx on IG, Facebook, and message her and tell her you love her and encourage her and things like that. So thank you, Chris. We'll see you
Thank you.
guys later.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.